Well, hello and welcome to my channel, Mary Born ND. And this is the end of the second week of the Three Rivers Challenge. And I'm so glad that I joined this year, as I did last year, but this year I'm doing it even more in depth and very excited to see some of the accomplishments that I've made. This week, I focused on the upstairs refrigerator freezer part, the freezer part of my refrigerator. And I actually made this a two-part. And so if you missed the beginning of that, where I did the embarrassment reveal, you can capture that. I will link it in the description below and see where I started with such a mess and why it was such a mess. Today is Saturday, and like most of the country, we got dumped on. It was either with rain or with snow, and we got dumped on with snow. And my husband is out right now snow blowing, and you may hear it in the background. But we have 6 inches of snow, and it seems like we will be having more to come. So he's trying to clear the best he can in this break of time. Yeah, winter finally got here to Michigan. In my Gardening with Granny videos, I showed you the amaryllis update, and you can check that video out. I will be talking about other things that can be done in January as gardeners. And so stay tuned for those videos to come. In this video, you'll see that I used up the leftover vegetable soup that I made, and I had a head of cabbage that was at the end of it. And so I used part of that in the soup. I found some frozen shredded zucchini, and I used that in the soup to change it. I don't like to serve leftovers the same. I usually like to create a little difference to it and adding more nutrition to it. In a lot of my meals, you'll see me using a broth, and I freeze dried and continue to freeze dry my meat broths. And I find that so convenient. I don't pressure can. I haven't learned yet to pressure can. I do a lot of water bath canning, but meat stock, you can't just water bath, you have to pressure can. So in times past, I've had freeze it, and unfortunately it got freezer burn on the top. So I am thrilled to have my freeze dryer, and I make use of that broth many times throughout the weeks. It adds nutrition, collagen. The other thing is when you pressure can broth, you lose some of that collagen, but you don't lose the collagen when you freeze dry. So, and the main reason for me wanting to use bone broth, is for the collagen, because as one ages, your skin becomes less pliable, and the collagen helps to nourish the skin, and you have skin inside and outside of your body that needs nourishing. Also, the tendons and the bones are benefited by the bone broth. So you'll see me mix it, and generally it's a tablespoon of the broth to a few tablespoons of water. And sometimes I will make the flavor more intense by increasing the amount of bone broth powder that I use. Also, in the vegetable soup that I made, and I don't think I captured that on video, I have a tomato, freeze-dried tomato that I made into a powder, and I can bump up the flavor by using that. So I use the freeze-dried broths and juices for a lot of my flavoring. And I know they're expensive, but I absolutely love my Harvest Right freeze dryer. And I use it. You've seen me freeze dry fruits. Um, it's been wonderful for that, for snacking. And the apples, that was a way for me to preserve the apples. Some of my applesauce did not um, can properly. It didn't seal, and that's my fault. I probably put too much in the jar, and I forgot how applesauce kind of boils up, and so I had a lot of siphoning. And so I'm going to be freeze drying the applesauce that you saw me can in the first week of the challenge. So in this week, I did not capture, I found 6 cookie balls that last year somebody gave us for Christmas. And of course, they had to be used up. And so I baked those as cookies, and I didn't videotape that. And I took the soup. That's one of the meals that you'll see. And I also showed you last week where we had pork chops, and I sliced the pork chop in half. So we ended up with 4 pork chops, and I used 2 of them in last week's meal. And so this week I shredded it and made barbecued pulled pork. And the barbecue sauce was something I found in the freezer upstairs. And it, oh, so good. And I used up the rest of that head of cabbage with a coleslaw. The vinegar that I used is a chive blossom vinegar that I made. I want to say, I, it may have been this spring. I take the blossoms off of the chive plant, and I soak them in vinegar, white vinegar, and it makes a beautiful pink vinegar. I soak them, I believe it's for 2 weeks. And then you strain out the blossoms, and the color from the blossoms go into the vinegar, and the blossoms themselves are yucky gray. But it's a fun thing to do, and you get that beautiful chive flavor, and it adds to the coleslaw. And I did not make my own salad dressing and mayonnaise. I just used the good old tried and true Hellmann's. But I am having fun actually getting through this freezer, rediscovering food that I had put there to use and didn't. So I am getting more intentional about rotating my food and making sure that what's in this upstairs freezer is something that is going to be used in the near future and not just shoved there because it's convenient. And it had to be that way because getting up and downstairs was not what I could do. So I hope you enjoy this end of the week video, and I'll see you next week. So thank you for viewing, and stay tuned for this week's end of the week videos.